Hi students, in this session I will discuss basics of auditing. In the last session, I talked about various different set of professional standards that you have. You have standards for auditing, you have standards for compilation, you have standard for review of financial statements, you even have attestation standards. So various different set of standards that you have. Now in this session, I will talk about basics of auditing. Now, what is an audit? It is an examination of financial statements. And who prepares those financial statements? Yes, it is management. So management prepares those financial statements. And you are a CPA and you may be asked to audit those financial statements. Now, audit is an examination of financial statements. So you examine those financial statements. So you examine whether the financial statements are as per accounting standards or not. And you express your opinion. So you have to express your opinion that whether the financial statements are as per GAAP, that is accounting standards, or not. So you express an opinion that whether financial statements are as per GAAP, that is accounting standards, generally accepted accounting principles. Now, I ask you a question. You are a CPA and you are asked to audit the financial statements. So you will follow certain standards and guidelines to audit the financial statements. Those standards and guidelines you call them GAS, generally accepted auditing standards. These standards are issued by Auditing Standard Board of AICPA. So who prepares the financial statements? Management. And who audits the financial statements? Auditor. So management prepares the financial statements in accordance with accounting standards. And the auditor audits the financial statements as per GAS, that is auditing standards. Now, what is a financial reporting framework? Okay. It is a set of criteria that you use for preparing financial statements. So, for example, you have IFRS is one set of criteria or standards. Then you have US GAAP, you have Indian GAAP, you have other set of criteria also. All these are financial reporting framework. Management prepares the financial statements and you are a CPA, you are asked to audit the financial statements. When you are asked to audit the financial statements, you will ask management first that what financial reporting framework you have used, whether you have used IFRS or US GAAP. That is, whether you have prepared the financial statements in accordance with IFRS or in accordance with US GAAP. What guidelines, what criteria what standards you have used to prepare the financial statements. So management prepares financial statements using a financial reporting framework. Now you as an auditor have to see that whether that financial reporting framework is acceptable or not, or whether the financial reporting framework is applicable or not. So management prepares the financial statements using a financial reporting framework. And you have to see whether that financial reporting framework is applicable or whether it is required by law or regulation. So you have to see that whether the financial reporting framework is correct or not. Correct in the sense whether it is applicable or not, whether it is acceptable or not. I am a CPA and a US company asked me to audit the financial statements. Those statements will be distributed in US. Now, because I am a CPA and I am asked to audit the financial statements, the question I will ask is that what financial reporting framework you have used, and if management uses a framework, for example, it uses Indian GAAP, then my only question will be that, okay, it is good that you have used Indian GAAP, but that is not an applicable financial reporting framework, because that is not an acceptable financial reporting framework, because you have to distribute those financial statements in US. Because you are a US company, you have to distribute those financial statements in US. You should use US GAAP, not Indian GAAP. In our case, what is the applicable financial reporting framework? It is US GAAP. For a chartered accountant who is auditing the financial statements of an Indian company, and those financials will be distributed in India, applicable financial reporting framework will be Indian GAAP. All right. So management prepares the financial statements in accordance with accounting standards, and auditor audits the financial statements in accordance with auditing standards. Now, these auditing standards, we call that GAS, generally accepted auditing standards. And these are divided into sections. You use AUC. So if I write AUC 200, that means section 200 of US auditing standards. Now, AUC is just an identifier. It actually identifies the section. It identifies what standards you are using. So if I say AUC 200, that means auditing standard section 200. It is just an identifier. C refers to clarified, that is new auditing standards. If I say ARC 60, that means again ARC is an identifier. It refers to accounting and review standards. If I say ATC 315, for example, that means again ATC is just an identifier. It refers to attest standards. So ARC refers to accounting and review standards. AUC refers to auditing standards. All right. Okay, so who prepares the financial statements? It is management who prepares the financial statements. And who audits the financial statements? Auditor. When an auditor is auditing the financial statement, he is actually examining the financial statements and checking whether the financial statements are as per accounting standards or not. So what are the management responsibility? So management is responsible for preparing and presenting the financial statements. Let's read the first point. Preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements in accordance with applicable financial reporting framework. All right. So management prepares and presents, and that presentation should be fair. And that preparation and presentation should be in accordance with financial reporting framework that is applicable. When I say applicable, I mean acceptable. So financial reporting framework should be acceptable. It is the management job to prepare and fairly present the financial statements in accordance with applicable financial reporting framework. In our case, applicable financial reporting framework is US GAAP, US accounting standards. Now, what are other management responsibilities that are listed in auditing standards? So other management responsibility include the design, implementation, and maintenance of internal control relevant to the preparation and fair presentation of financial statements that are free from material misstatement. Okay. It is the management responsibility to establish an internal control, to implement, to design, implement, maintain an internal control. And what kind of internal control we are talking about? Internal control that is relevant to financial reporting. Internal control that is required for the preparation and fair presentation of financial statements. So internal control that is required for the preparation and fair presentation. So I'm not talking about every kind of internal control. I'm only talking about internal control relevant to financial reporting. Now, what do you mean by internal control? You can say it is a process that provides reasonable assurance that the entity will achieve the objectives. So its objectives relate to financial reporting, compliance, operations. So if you have internal control, it provides some kind of assurance that yes, things are okay. For example, if all the transactions posted in Ledger are cross-checked by a supervisor, it is an internal control. Right? So before any sales transaction is posted, purchase order, invoice, and goods dispatch reports are matched, that again is an internal control. So again, it is the management responsibility to design, implement, and maintain internal control regarding financial reporting framework. regarding preparation and fair presentation of financial statements so that they are free from material misstatement. Now, when I say they are free from misstatement, what do I mean? So if I say that financial statements are not free from misstatement or financial statements contain misstatements, what do I mean? I mean amount, classification, presentation, or disclosure is not as per GAAP. So the amount, classification, presentation, or disclosure is not as per GAAP. For example, management reports property, plant, and equipment at, let's say, $800,000. So this is what management reports. But you as an auditor feel that the amount should be somewhere around, let's say, $799,000. This is you as an auditor have determined. Now, the question is that, is it a misstatement? The answer is yes, because the amount is not as per GAAP. You as an auditor have determined that the correct amount is $799,000 for property, plant, and equipment. But management has reported that at $800,000. Although the difference is not that big, but the first question is that, is it a misstatement? The answer is yes. So what the auditor will do? Will the auditor correct this misstatement? The answer is no. Auditor will ask management to correct this misstatement. Okay. Now, there may be misstatement regarding classification. There is no proper classification of account. Accounts are not presented properly in the financial statements. Or certain disclosures are required, but those disclosures are not presented. All those comes under misstatements. Now, what management responsibility we are talking about? That management has to ensure that financial statements are free from material misstatement, not from every kind of misstatement, because misstatements are likely to happen in financial reporting. Why misstatements are likely to happen? Because of estimates, because of judgments. For example, you have to make, or management has to make estimates regarding the useful life of an asset. Management has to make estimates regarding its salvage value. Sometimes judgment is required that whether impairment testing is required or not. What is the fair value? What method or technique is appropriate to determine fair value? So many estimates and judgments are required. And management estimate and judgment may be different from auditors' estimates and judgment. So misstatements are likely to happen. Differences between auditor and management are likely to happen. So in this particular example, property, plant and equipment, management reports at $800,000, but auditor feels that the value is $799,000. Yes, it is a misstatement. But is it a material misstatement? The amount is not that big. The difference is only 1,000. So there is a misstatement of $1,000. But is this misstatement material? I will say not really. How do you define that whether it is material or not? So if this misstatement is likely to influence the judgment of the user, so if there is substantial likelihood, or it is likely, it is very much likely that misstatement, this $1,000 difference, this misstatement is likely to influence the judgment of user, then it is a material misstatement. But in this case, I don't think so that 1,000 difference or reporting property, plant and equipment at $800,000 instead of $799,000 is material. It will not make that much of a difference in the judgment of a user who is using those financial statements. Also, you do not see a misstatement in isolation. You see its impact on a standalone basis, and you also see the impact of a particular misstatement along with other misstatements. Whether it can influence the judgment of the user or not is important. A misstatement or that particular misstatement along with other misstatements is likely to influence the judgment of the user, then it is a material misstatement. Right. Now, what are other management responsibilities? Providing access to all necessary information and persons within the entity for the purpose of audit. Now, who is asking the auditor to audit the financial statements? It is management. When an auditor has to audit, or when an auditor audits, he checks the financial statements, he examines those financial statements and expresses an opinion. And when he has to check those financial statements and to express his opinion, he needs a lot of information. He needs access to all the documents. He need access for example, he need access to warehouse. He need access to the factory. He may need to talk to various employees. So now it is management responsibility to make sure auditor has all the data, all the documents, and all the necessary accesses. If he wants to access the accounting software, he should be able to access it. If he wants to visit inventory warehouse, he should be allowed that access. If he wants to question those directly involved in recording transactions, certain critical transactions, he should be allowed to talk to them. If he wants access to minutes of board meetings, he should be provided those minutes. And whose responsibility it is? Management. So we talked about management responsibility. And management responsibility, as listed in the auditing standards, pertain to three aspects. First is it is the management responsibility to prepare and fairly present the financial statements in accordance with applicable financial reporting framework. Second, it is the management responsibility to design, implement, and maintain internal control relevant to financial reporting. so that the financial statements are free from material misstatement. And third, it is the management responsibility to provide all the information and accesses to the auditor. So these are management responsibilities. Okay. So what are auditors' responsibilities? Auditor has to examine the financial statements and to express an opinion that whether the financial statements are as per the applicable financial reporting framework. That whether the financial statements are as per, in our case, US GAAP. Now, to express an opinion that whether the financial statements are as per accounting standards or not, he needs to have evidences. So if he says that financial statements are not as per accounting standards, he need to have evidences. If he says that financial statements are as per accounting standards, he need to have evidences. So he needs to obtain sufficient, appropriate audit evidence. So what are the auditor's responsibility? To obtain reasonable assurance, not absolute assurance. Regarding what? Regarding his opinion. Now here, he need to be reasonably sure regarding his opinion. So if he says that financial statements are okay, he need to have evidences and he need to be reasonably sure. Not absolute sure, not absolute assurance, but reasonable assurance. Not 100% assurance, but reasonable assurance that yes, I can reasonably say that financial statements are correct. Or yes, I can reasonably say that financial statements are incorrect. Financial statements contain misstatement. So he need to be reasonably sure, not 100% sure. He can never be 100% sure. Reason that because of limitations of audit. Because of limitations of audit. Audit has its own limitation. Now, who is preparing the financial statements? Management. Auditor is only auditing the financial statements and he is doing the audit as per the auditing standards. Those auditing standards require auditor to be reasonably sure, not 100% sure. This is because auditor is not expected to check each and everything. He's only doing sample testing. So he's not checking each and every transaction that is posted. He's not checking each and every invoice that is sent to the customer. He's not checking each and every dispatch report. He's not checking each and every item which is there in inventory list to make sure those items are there in the warehouse. He's not going through each and every minutes of board meetings. He may or may not be taking confirmation from each and every debtor to check whether the account receivable balance is correct or not. He's not checking each and every component of property, plant, and equipment. He's only doing sample testing. And that is a limitation that he cannot be 100% sure. So it is very much possible that he checked 20 invoices out of 100 invoices and found no error. But there are errors in other invoices, or some of the invoices are fake. But those fake invoices, the auditor did not check because auditor was only doing sample testing. Auditor may not be able to uncover frauds. Because most of the frauds are so smartly done that it is sometimes not that easy to detect frauds. And again, auditor is not a bloodhound. Auditor is only a watchdog. He investigates if something comes across, something unusual or misstatement will come across, he will investigate further, but he is not there searching for errors. He is not searching for frauds. And it is not his job to find errors. His job is to express an opinion that whether the financial statements are correct or not. And for that, he requires reasonable assurance. He is not an investigating agency who is looking for errors and frauds. He is just expressing his opinion basis audit evidence. How he get the audit evidence? He get those audit evidence basis audit procedures that he perform. So he performs certain auditing procedures. And when he performs those procedures, he get evidences. Those evidences form the basis for his opinion. So he perform auditing procedures. When he performs auditing procedures, he get audit evidence. Basis this evidence, he expresses an opinion. All right. So he will say that financial statements are okay, basis evidence. Or he may say that financial statements are not okay, basis some evidence. Now, what different opinions that may be expressed by an auditor? So, auditor may either express unmodified opinion or modified. There are three types of modified opinion, that is qualified, adverse, and disclaimer. All right. So, auditor may express an unmodified opinion or a modified opinion. So, auditor may say that yes, financial statements are okay. So, he is expressing an unmodified opinion. But there is another possibility. Auditor may say that something is not okay. There are problems. In that case, he will express a qualified opinion or an adverse opinion or a disclaimer of opinion. Disclaimer of opinion means no opinion. He refuses to express an opinion. We will talk about these modified opinions in another session. We will talk about these opinions in detail. But as of now, you should understand that he will either express an unmodified opinion or modified opinion. So when he expresses an unmodified opinion, he says that financial statements are okay. financial statements are as per GAAP. Financial statements present a fair view of the financial position and results of its operations. Or the auditor may express a modified opinion that there are problems. Inventory is overstated, sales are overstated. There are so many items which are missing in the inventory warehouse. Goods sent to consignee have been recorded as sales. I am not allowed to take a confirmation from debtors. I'm not allowed to talk to the legal advisors. I'm not provided with minutes of board meetings. I'm not allowed to talk to the accounting executives. I'm not providing with standard operating procedures. Disclosures are missing. I have given you a few examples which may be faced by the auditor. So auditor may face these issues and auditor may say, yes, there are problems. Things are not okay. When things are not okay regarding financial reporting, I will not express an unmodified opinion, but I will express a modified opinion. That modified opinion may be a qualified opinion or an adverse opinion or a disclaimer of opinion, depending upon the problems that are there. What kind of problems an auditor may face, we will talk about that in detail. And what kind of opinion an auditor will express, again, we will talk about that in detail in another session. Okay, so now to express an opinion, he needs to have evidences, and that evidence should be sufficient and appropriate. Now, what are the other requirements for an auditor? So auditor is required to follow GAS, that is generally accepted auditing standards. Often you will see in auditing standards terms such as must, is required, or should. Now, what these terms actually mean? If in auditing standards must is specified, that means auditor has to perform that procedure, has to follow that. Auditor cannot miss if auditing standards use the word must or is required. But if auditing standards use the word should, in that case, the auditor may depart from the requirement because it states that auditor should. But perform alternative procedures in order to achieve the intent of the requirement. For example, the auditing standards state that auditors should take confirmation from the debtors so that the account receivable balance reported is correct. So if management reports account receivable at $100,000, so management reports, so for example, management reports account receivable balance at $100,000. And the auditing standards state that the auditor should get confirmation from the debtors. You also call that external confirmation. So if there are, let's say, 5 debtors, so auditor will take confirmation from those 5 debtors that what is the amount that they owe to the organization. Then tally it with what management is reporting. Management is reporting account receivable at $100,000, whether it is correct or not. But because the accounting standards use the word should, the auditor may depart from this requirement. But in that case, auditor will perform alternative audit procedures in order to make sure the AR balance is correct. So what is the intent of the requirement? Intent of the requirement is that AR balance is correct. But he's not performing what is stated in the auditing standard, but he's performing alternative procedures. For example, auditor will perform analytical procedures. So auditor will check what has been the AR balance for last so many years. Every year it is somewhere around $100,000. So this year also it is $100,000. Okay. He will check purchase order, invoices, good dispatch report. He will check more number of invoices. He will check that those goods which are dispatched, were they purchased or not? Are they still in the inventory or not? He will cross check with the bank statement after 31st of December that if any of those debtors have paid the amount or not. So he will perform certain other procedures, but he's not taking a confirmation from debtors. Why? Maybe management is not providing detail of its customers, or the auditor is not able to contact debtors. So in that case, he's not getting a confirmation from the debtors, but he's performing alternative procedures to achieve the intent of the requirement. And the intent of the requirement is that AR balance should be correct. So auditor has to comply with ethical and independence requirement stated by AICPA in the AICPA Code of Professional Conduct, rules of State Board of Accountancy, rules of applicable regulatory agency. So again, auditor has to follow all the ethical and independence requirement. Auditor has to be independent of the entity. Very important. For example, if auditor owns 30% shares of X company and audits the financial statements of X company, auditor is not considered independent. If auditor's spouse owns the organization and controls the organization, then auditor is not considered independent. But it is very important that auditor should be independent. So there are certain requirements. Now, how you determine that whether auditor is independent or not? So there are rules, there are guidelines. Those guidelines are stated in AICPA Code of Professional Conduct, rules of State Board of Accountancy, and also in rules established by regulatory agencies. For example, in case of banks, you have banking regulatory agency. In case of insurance company, you have insurance regulatory agencies. Those regulatory agencies also specify rules regarding ethics and independence. So auditor has to be independent and has to perform the audit ethically. All right. Now comes professional judgment. Auditor has to do the audit using his professional judgment. Professional judgment involves use of his experience, knowledge, training. So all the knowledge he has as a CPA, all the experience that he has as a CPA, as an auditor, he will use that in making decisions. So many times you will read that it is the auditor's professional judgment that will determine this. For example, to express an opinion, any kind of opinion, modified or unmodified, he need to have sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Whether he has all the necessary audit evidence or not, that is left to auditor's professional judgment. Auditor has to decide that whether he has all the evidence or not. How he will decide that whether he has all the necessary evidence to express an opinion? How he will decide? He will use his knowledge. He will use his experience as an auditor. Now, next thing is professional skepticism. So, auditor also has to use professional skepticism, that is the questioning bent of mind. You can say auditor should or is required to critically analyze. So, auditor cannot assume that management is good. Management is honest. There are no misstatements. Auditor cannot assume that. Auditor need to be critical. That yes, I may find some errors. Management may be dishonest. There may be misstatements. Sales figure may be overstated. There may be certain items which are missing in inventory warehouse. Property, plant, and equipment may be overstated. Maybe impairment testing was not done. Maybe goods which are dispatched are still reported as inventory. So again, auditor has to critically analyze. Although auditor should not assume that management is dishonest. Professional skepticism does not mean that assume that management is dishonest. No. You should not outrightly assume that management is dishonest. You should not outrightly assume that management is honest, but analyze critically that yes, there may be errors. Revenue may be overstated. Expenses may be understated. All right. Now, to form an opinion, auditor need to have evidence, and that evidence should be sufficient and appropriate. Now, when I say sufficient, I mean quantity. And appropriate actually refers to quality. So, both quantity and quality of evidence should be good. So, there should be sufficient, appropriate audit evidence so that he is able to form his opinion. And this sufficient, appropriate audit evidence form the basis of his opinion. Evidence should be relevant. Considering the purpose. Another thing is reliability. How reliable audit evidence is. So, evidence which are original are more reliable as compared to which are in duplicate, or evidences that are in hard copy are more reliable as compared to evidences that are in soft copy, right? Evidences from independent sources are more reliable as compared to those internally generated. when we talk about quality, you have to see how reliable and relevant that evidence is. If I have to make sure that the account receivable balance is correct, I can get a confirmation from debtors that what is the amount that debtors owe and tally it with the amount that is appearing in the books. That is a strong evidence. Quality of evidence is very good because I am getting directly a confirmation from the debtor. But if I do not get a confirmation from debtor, but I use analytical procedures to verify the balance. I say that every year, let's say AR balance is somewhere around $100,000, and this year also it is $100,000. So I can say that the balance is correct. So what procedure I have used? I've used an analytical procedure. Past data that I have used and the evidence that I have got is weak in quality. Right? So I need to have sufficient, appropriate, and appropriate talks about quality. Sufficiency, again, it talks about quantity. For example, sometimes even one evidence is sufficient. Sometimes you require multiple evidences. For example, if I need to make sure that account receivable balance is correct, I can get a confirmation from debtors. If they confirm that yes, they all owe in total $100,000 and management has also reported $100,000, it matches sufficient evidence. Confirmation from debtors is sufficient. Even a single evidence is sufficient. But on the other hand, sometimes I require multiple evidences. For example, if I have to make sure that the amount of liability in respect of litigations and claims is correct, I will read the minutes of board meetings. I will inquire of management. I will go through the correspondence between external legal counsel and management. I will check legal expenses to identify if there are any unusually high expenses in any year. I will obtain letter of inquiry from external legal counsel. So I will perform multiple procedures and get multiple evidences just to make sure that I have sufficient and appropriate audit evidence regarding litigation, claims, and assessment liability. So we'll talk about quantity and quality, sufficiency and appropriateness more in later sessions. But as of now, if auditor has to express an opinion, for that opinion, he need to have sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. So whether he states that financial statements are okay, or whether he states that financial statements are not okay, he needs to have sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. Now, audit risk. When an auditor performs an audit, he performs procedures, he gets evidences, and uses those evidences to express an opinion. And when he expresses an opinion, there is an audit risk. It is a risk of inappropriate audit opinion. That auditor may express an incorrect audit opinion. Is it possible? So yes, it is very much possible that auditor expresses an incorrect audit opinion. Let's take one situation that financial statements are not okay. But what the auditor says, financial statements are okay. Is that possible? Yes, it is possible. Because he did not find any misstatement. Whatever testing he has done, whatever procedures he has performed, whatever evidence he has, basis that he can say that yes, financial statements are okay. He did not find any misstatement. He did not find any error. He did not find any fraud. Financial statements are true and fair. Financial statements are as per accounting standards. He can say that. But actually, financial statements are not okay. There are errors. So now this is the risk that the auditor faces, that he may express an incorrect or inappropriate audit opinion. Now there is another possibility that financial statements are okay, but auditor says that financial statements are not okay. Is this an audit risk? That financial statements are correct, but auditor says that no, financial statements are not okay. Is this an audit risk? The answer is no. This is not an audit risk. This case is not an audit risk. But why? Okay, so financial statements are okay, but auditor wants to express an opinion that financial statements are not okay. And when auditor has to express any opinion, any kind of opinion, he needs to have sufficient appropriate audit evidence. So he needs to get evidences regarding misstatements, that there are misstatements, because he wants to say that financial statements are not okay. He believes that financial statements are not okay. So in order to express an opinion that financial statements are not okay, he needs to have sufficient appropriate audit evidence. So he needs to have evidences regarding misstatements, material misstatements. But will he be able to gather those evidences? The answer is no, because financial statements actually are okay. The fact is that financial statements are okay. Even if he tries to find out errors, he will not find out errors. Initially, auditor may feel that, yes, there are certain misstatements. But when he will deep dive, when he will investigate further, he will come to the conclusion that financial statements are okay. For example, so auditor was doing auditing procedures regarding inventory. So he had the list of inventory. So he selected few items to check whether those items are in the warehouse or not. And he did not find a few items. So he felt that no, there are misstatements. Financial statements are not okay. When he later deep dived and inquired more, he discovered that those items are in another warehouse or in another building that is just next to the primary warehouse. So when he deep dive investigated, he discovered that yes, inventory items that are stated in the inventory list are correct. Inventory value is okay. So this is not an audit risk, because in that case, auditor will not express that financial statements are not okay. Because initially he felt that financial statements are not okay. But when he deep dived, when he investigated further, when he performed additional procedures, got more evidences, he reached to the conclusion that financial statements are okay. So ultimately, he will express an opinion that financial statements are okay because that is the truth. That is the fact. So it is not an audit risk. So what is an audit risk? That financial statements are not okay, but auditor expresses that financial statements are okay. So if we see how audit risk is defined, it is the risk that the auditor expresses an inappropriate audit opinion when the financial statements are materially misstated. So when the financial statements are materially misstated, then there is a risk that auditor may express an inappropriate audit opinion. So when the financial statements are misstated, that is when the financial statements are not okay, the auditor faces a risk that he may give an incorrect audit opinion. All right. Now let's take one multiple choice question. Which of the following is not a management's responsibility? Preparation and fair presentation of financial statements in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. No, this is a management responsibility. Design, implementation, and maintenance of internal control relevant to the preparation and fair presentation of financial statements. Yes, this again is a management responsibility we just did. And the third point, providing the auditor with the access to all necessary information and persons within the entity for the purpose of audit. Yes, this again is a management responsibility. Option D, express an opinion on the financial statements. No, this is not management responsibility. This is auditor's responsibility. The answer is D, express an opinion. This is not management responsibility. This is the auditor's responsibility. With this, we end this session, students, and I hope this session was meaningful. Next time we will take this auditing standards forward and do more on this. Have a great day and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.